everyone. My name is Charlotte Golding, and I'm Head of Experimentation at Virgin Media O2. If you're not familiar with what Virgin Media O2 is, it's telecoms, which, slightly boring, but Black Friday is slightly less boring, which is what I'm here to talk to you about today. So, to get the engagement going in the room first, let's play a bit of a game. It's called Beat the Black Friday. So, how it's going to work is I'm going to give you some insight into how many experiments we ran at Virgin Media O2 last year. And I would like then for you to respond accordingly to show me how many experiments you ran last year for your Black Friday. So, first one. Last year, we ran 95 experiments for Black Friday. If you ran less, stay sitting down. If you ran roughly the same, just take a guess. Stand up. If you ran more, stand up and put your hand up. Ready? Make sense? Perfect. Okay. Please stand up, sit down, raise your hand, go. Okay, everyone's sitting down. I'm going to just assume that this is good credentials for myself and the talk I'm going to give you. Okay, so last year we ran 202 variations for Black Friday. So again, please stay sitting down if you did less, stand up if you did more, stand up, raise your hand if you well, I've messed it up, if you did more. Okay, still sitting down. Next one. So last year, we ran 72 personalized experiments for Black Friday. What did you do? Did you do less? More? Same? Please stand up, sit down. Okay. And what about AI-powered experiments for Black Friday? So these type of experiments are your machine learning algorithm experiments, where perhaps you're using multi-arm bandits or stats accelerators, or maybe you're using like a recommendation model. Did you do less? Did you do same? Or did you do more? Please sit up, sit down. Okay, everyone stayed the same throughout that. I'm definitely just going to use that as good credentials. So today I'm going to be talking to you about some of the cheat codes that I've picked up from running Black Friday campaigns for Virgin Media O2. And that first one is don't wander blindly. Dig into your customer problem statements and try and unlock those solutions. So how do we do that? We use something called an OST, which stands for Opportunity Solution Tree. You start with having your overall outcome sitting right at the top of the tree. So that's what you're aiming to achieve. In our instance, it was revenue. Underneath that, you then have your objectives, which you can think of as like your levers to then help you to drive that overall outcome. Underneath that, you then have your problem statements, your customer problem statements that you would have identified through user research, some research on Contentsquare, or previous experiment learnings. And then underneath that, you then have your solutions. So the experiments that you are then going to run in order to try and remedy those customer problem statements and really drive that revenue. So why do I think this is a cheat code? I think it's a cheat code because, one, it puts your customer really at the heart of what it is that you're trying to achieve. And two, it keeps everyone aligned to the same goal, which is super important if you're working across multiple different teams, which we see at Virgin Media O2. So I work with people in like comms, I work with people in apps, I work with people in the call center. So it's important to ensure that you're all going towards the same objective, the same problem statements. Cheat code number 2. When you align customer context with campaign timing, you don't just personalize, you precision target. So let's break that down a bit. Customer context is about ensuring that you send the right message to the customer based off of their relationship with you and how they're feeling. So we broke that down into 3 key swim lanes, which is life cycle, mindset, and channel preference. Life cycle is about the relationship the customer has with you on like a regular basis. So we think about that in terms of, are they a new customer? Are they currently in their current contract? Are they nearing towards the end of their contract? Or are they out of contract? The next one is mindset. Mindset is more so about how the customer is like kind of feeling. So are they having a service problem, which is quite frequent if you're a telco? Are they having payment issues? So perhaps they're struggling to pay their bills. Or are they just a really loyal customer and they want to have something a bit different this year because they feel like they've been extra loyal to your brand? The next one is channel preference. So channel preference is around how customers would like you to reach out to them. So that might be that they want to get a text message, they want an email, or maybe they want a push notification on the app. Or if you're really lucky, maybe your customers all come to you. You don't need to think about that. In that instance, maybe just focus on things like app or the web. Campaign timing. Campaign timing is about sending the right message at the right time. So we broke down our Black Friday campaign into four different stages. So the first phase is Black Friday's coming. So this is when you need to start to generate that excitement about Black Friday coming. So you need to start thinking about things such as like marketing opt-ins, so getting people engaged with you first so that you can then go back and reach out to those customers and start to build that hype. Phase 2, Black Friday is live. So try and get the customers to start purchasing, even though they know Black Friday's a bit later on. For us, Black Friday runs for a whole month, so it's important to try and get that engagement early. And then Black Friday is ending, so driving that urgency to try and get customers to transact. But also, if the customer isn't ready to transact, giving them the option to then come back and engage with you at a later stage through things such as like marketing opt-in, for example. The final phase, Black Friday is over. So that's ensuring that you have really good customer care that's going to continue, but also right back into the next campaign. Which moves me on to my next cheat code, which is choosing the right test, because choosing the right test is going to completely alter your Black Friday, in my opinion. So how do you figure out what test you should run? So you first start with your objective. What are you trying to achieve? Do you want to just maximize your gains? Or do you want to find a significant variation? But maybe you have limited traffic. Or do you want to gain a really clear understanding of the changes? If that's the case, then maybe run an A/B test. Despite the noise, that's probably going to be your most significant way of finding something out. But if you want to find a significant winner with limited variations, limited traffic, then run a stats accelerator. I'll explain this in a bit more detail in a second. Or if you want to maximize your gains, go with a multi-arm bandit. So, what are these tests? So we use Optimizely as our experimentation tool. And a multi-arm bandit essentially pushes traffic to the variation that is going to be more likely to move your primary metric. In our instance, that's revenue. So it pushes traffic to the variation that's going to drive the most amount of revenue. And a stats accelerator, this is more around statistical significance. A multi-arm bandit, there's no real, well, there is stats involved, but not statistical significance. A stats accelerator will push traffic to the variation that is going to have the highest probability of being statistically significant, whether that's positive or negative. So, what was our testing approach? At the start of the Black Friday campaign, we ran a bunch of stats accelerators. The reason for this is so that we could start to narrow down the types of experiments that are really going to try and drive that statistical significance. And then later on, so the second half of Black Friday, we decided to then run into like some exploitation. So we ran multi-arm bandits to try and get the most out of our traffic over that period. And then in December time, that's when we ran our evaluations to try and understand what happened, which is really important. And then in January time, so when the winter sale comes around, we then decided to run a bunch of A/B tests to try and understand what really drove the customer impact. Now, I want to say that with a caveat. The reason being is there's different types of noise for Black Friday and for other campaigns like winter sale, because there's a different type of like buzz. Black Friday, there's lots of companies doing Black Friday. winter sale, sometimes there's less, so there's less competition. So I'm now going to show you what we did, what worked for us and what didn't work for us. Actually, that's a lie, because I'm actually going to get some of the other people from Virgin Media O2 to tell you what we did.
Black Friday 2024 was our biggest yet, and I want to show you exactly how our teams made it happen. Let's take a look at the digital offers and see what each team delivered. Adam, tell me more about mobile.
Our mobile strategy is all about maximizing our commercial offers across 2 phases. In the app, we've revolutionized the user experience with new Start tab header designs, Explore top picks optimization, Offer tab takeover, and vertical cards that bring to life individual deals.
Great results from mobile. Thanks, Adam. Chris, over to you for our cable acquisition deep dive.
For cable acquisition, we've built on our 2023 successes with a data-driven approach. In our testing strategy, we're launching 39 strategically planned variants segmented to influence customers, starting with simplifying our offers, pay £0 versus 3 months free, rotating homepage carousels, message hierarchy, and Black Friday styling on affiliate offers. With driving value, we're looking at speed upsell in basket, Black Friday pop-up, which is similar to our in-life team, and product sorting.
Great insight. Thanks, Chris. Hey, Beth, what did we do for fixed in life?
For our existing customer campaign, we developed a comprehensive OST framework and focused on 4 main phases of Black Friday. We then launched a whopping 99 experiment variants throughout the campaign period. We leveraged last year's Black Friday experiment learnings, as well as things we learned from experiments throughout the year. Here's what we came up with. An upper funnel overlay to let customers know that Black Friday was live. An in-store overlay, which immediately highlighted the offers to customers who landed in the stores. Average wait time was a solution that aimed to contain digital transactions and deter customers from calling in. Upper funnel urgency and in-store urgency both made use of countdown timers on the website. And finally, an in-store expiring basket, which aimed to increase cart to order conversion. So now that you know all about how we strategized and executed our existing customer Black Friday campaign, why don't we take a look and see how it all performed?
Okay, fab. So now you know some of the experiments that we ran. Those experiments there focus primarily on the web. However, we've ran experiments across multiple other channels as well. So thinking about comms, thinking about the app, thinking about the call center. However, I am now going to focus on just explaining a little bit about some of the key experiments that we ran over that period and their results, and why I think they're like the most interesting ones, not that I have favorites. So the first one is upper funnel overlay powered by product recommendations. So the upper funnel overlay is where we were showing customers the offers that were going to be available to them over the Black Friday period before they went through into the stores to then check out. The recommendations were powered by our recommendation engine, so we showed customers the products that we thought they had the highest propensity to purchase first. When we ran this over Black Friday, we saw a 12% increase in conversion rate. However, I'm going to be naughty and talk about something that didn't happen in Black Friday, but actually happened in winter sale. So over the winter sale period, if you remember what I said earlier, we run a series of A/B tests to try and figure out kind of like what happened in more detail. So we took that as an opportunity to then make some changes to our recommendation algorithm. And when we made those changes, that's when we started to see a really good impact, where we started to add in additional customer traits that we didn't consider before, so things such as purchasing patterns and tenure. And that's where we saw a really good change on something called NDCG. NDCG doesn't stand for Never Diss Charlotte Golding. Thank you. It stands for Normalized Discounted Cumulative Gain, which is considerably more boring. But what it is essentially it's a ranking metric to help you to figure out how well did your model rank what it was that it was showing the customers. And that's where we saw the change. As a result of this, this has now become our control across all of our campaigns since, and it's never been beaten yet. We'll see on this Black Friday coming. Average wait time. So average wait time told customers how long they would have to wait on the phone to the people in the call centre in order to negotiate a deal. We, in digital, want to try and drive down the amount of customers who are calling the call centre because it costs us a lot of money. So when we ran this test, the results, I think, were quite interesting. So for our in-contract customers, we saw that this really had a positive impact on conversion rate and also a metric called containment rate. If you're not familiar with containment rate, it's the percentage of customers that do not call you. So you want to increase that. And we saw a big impact there, which is great. However, for our end-of-contract customers and our out-of-contract customers, it didn't quite have the result we were expecting. It didn't drive a massive impact. It was a little bit flat. Less so for out-of-contract, more so for end-of-contract. But the reason for that is because they didn't really care how long they needed to wait on the phone for. They just wanted to ensure that they got the best deal possible, which, makes sense. And then the other one I want to talk about is the upper funnel overlay, which was powered by NBA. So the upper funnel overlay was essentially showing customers an overlay that covers the whole page to tell them that Black Friday is on. However, we wanted to use something called an MBA model to ensure that we were only showing this to the customers that actually had a high propensity to purchase. Because the reality is, when you go to a telecoms website, maybe you've got a service problem and you don't really want to be bombarded by Black Friday in that moment. So it's important to ensure that you really hit the nail on the head and only show it to the customers that actually want to purchase. So with that, we saw a 4% increase in containment rate, which really speaks to how well I think the MBA model worked. So with all of that, in summary, here are my top 3 cheat codes. The first one, so don't wander blindly, dig into your customer problem statements. When you combine customer context with campaign timing, you're going to precision target. And then finally, the right test is going to alter your Black Friday, so choose wisely. Oh, little sneak peek. And that's it from me. Thank you very much.